One more patient. One more patient. Joining us now is Dr. Craig Spencer. He's a New York City emergency room doctor. He's also the director of global health and emergency medicine at Columbia University Medical Center. Dr. Spencer, thank you so much for making time to be with us.
Thank you.
You've been through your share of things in your not particularly long life. I want to ask if what you've seen in New York since the influx of patients really started, if it seems to you that New York is adapting, if clinicians are learning more about what to do, if hospitals are, more than just falling apart and being inundated, if they are getting better at how to treat these patients that are in such distress.
That's such an important question. I've been saying that I survived Ebola, but I fear COVID-19. The reason is because I know the physical exhaustion and the mental anguish that comes with it. You mentioned a bit of it from that piece I wrote 5 years ago. Right now, what we're seeing is new protocols every day. We're teams are adapting. I've never seen so much solidarity in the ER with the people I'm working with on a daily basis. We have attendings from the urology services coming down and helping us out. It's all hands on deck, and everyone is getting prepared. The question is it enough in New York City? Were we too late, and can we adapt quick enough to be able to provide the best quality of care for all of the patients that are increasingly coming to our ERs, that are increasingly being intubated and putting on mechanical ventilation? And we know that beds are starting to fill up. We know the rate may be decreasing a bit, but what we know is there's also a big lag between when people get infected and when they show up and see me and we determine whether or not they need a breathing tube. And that's still many weeks off. So all of us on the front line are concerned. All of us are ready. The question is, do we have the supplies? Do we have the beds? And really, do we have the medications and other things that we need to be able to do this the best?
Saying this pandemic is bringing out the best, the worst in some people. You won't believe what a top New York hospital executive said about Trump supporters. Trace Gallagher next.
There will be parties. Yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
In their fight against this virus. This bill provides direct payments to working Americans of up to $1,200 for those earning less than $75,000 per year, and $2,400 for families earning less than $150,000.
So why do you decide to go to Ohio State? Not that it's not a great place to go, but...
And comfort through fabric, fit, and function.
We use soft.
Up next.
So here's what I've learned. I wish I had gotten this virus a month ago, and I'll tell you why. I wish I would have had it then, so I could have told you then, this is no joke. We are sleeping on something, and it is a mistake. And I would have had a different platform to jump on the president playing it as a hoax and playing politics with this. Because that time, one of the reasons we keep going back to that time is because it's so painful that we blew our best chance. That's why we keep going back to it. Especially when the president's inability to own it makes a journalist, makes a conscientious person suspect that he'd do the same thing again. You see what I'm saying? And we can't tolerate it a second time. Literally, I don't know that we survive it. And if I had gotten it sooner, I would have been able to explain, I think, more directly the vulnerability we face. Because what do we know now, a month later? Families are being isolated, separated, devastated. I mean, to hear, young Vargas just lost his husband, he died in his arms. And look, we're not doing enough, and you know it. And it is tough for all of us, and it's tough for our leaders. There is a helplessness, even among those who are in control, and it is instructive to see that, even when I see it in my own brother. Listen to this.
I couldn't protect my own brother. With all he knows, and as smart as he is, he couldn't protect himself. When he told me he had the coronavirus, it scared me. It frightened me. Why? Because we still don't know. We're talking about my little brother. This is my best friend. And I'm out of control, and there's nobody who can tell me, and Dr. Zucker can't tell me anything, and Tony Fauci can't tell me anything because nobody really knows. He did a show last night from his basement. What a gutsy, courageous thing to do. Kudos to him. My pop would be proud. I love you, little brother. And even though this isn't a flattering picture, I did not pick this picture with your mouth open, but it is suitable in some ways.
He picked it. And what else am I going to do? I'm in the basement. What am I going to sit around all day and watch that there's not the right information being given still? That we're letting states make choices about whether or not they do the only single thing that can make a difference for this country? Nobody can sit on the sidelines right now, least of all somebody who's been blessed with a platform to talk to you about it. Now, the irony about my brother joking about how I look is not lost on me, all right? Like he's some box of chocolates. But his heart, not just for me as his brother and family, but for the desperation to protect. That's his job, okay? His job is to protect the people of this state, just like every governor, just like this president. That's their job. Do everything you can to protect. And it's easy for someone like me. I'm lucky, okay? No matter how my journey goes with coronavirus, the life I've had, the family I have to take care of me, the ability I have to self-quarantine, and people bringing me food, and a wife, and my kids, thank God, didn't have it. Look how lucky I got here. I want you to be thinking about everybody who's not as lucky as I am, who are dealing with the same that I am and 10 times worse, especially after what I learned last night. This virus came at me. I've never seen anything like it, okay? So yeah, I've had a fever. You've had a fever. But 102, 103, 103 plus that wouldn't quit. And it was like somebody was beating me like a piñata. And I was shivering so much that Sanjay's right, I chipped my tooth. These are not cheap, okay? And they call them the rigors, like rigors, R-I-G-O-R-S, but rigors. So the sun comes up, I'm awake. I was up all night. It was I'm telling you, I was hallucinating. My dad was talking to me. I was seeing people from college, people I haven't seen in forever. It was freaky what I lived through last night. And it may happen again tonight. Doctor says it may happen like 5, 8 times. You know, I get it now. And if you match that with chest constriction and people can't breathe, I totally get why we're losing so many people and why our hospitals are so crowded. So here's the message. Don't be me, but more importantly, be better than we're being right now. Care enough, not just to stay home, but to stay on our leaders, to make sure that they're doing everything they can to limit this. I'm telling you, this is the part of our lives we will live through and remember the most. How do you want to be remembered during this time? It's now time for Don Lemon. CNN Tonight right now.
Yeah, but also care enough. I said last night, too, that we should, Chris, cut each other some slack and just be human. And care enough to check on the people you love. I texted you today, and I knew something was wrong, because usually you text me right back, you call, you texted me and you said, you don't want this. Last night was really bad, I love you, and that's all I heard from you. And I was like, uh-oh, something's not good. And I texted Christina, I didn't hear from her. And I said to Tim, I said, all right, let's get in the car, let's go. So we got in the car, went to the supermarket, and then dropped some stuff off to your house. And that was the end of that. So I would say, if there's someone you're worried about, or someone you love, or even somebody you don't love so much, or whatever, just check on them and say, how you doing? Even if somebody you have some beef with, just say, how you doing? It's just thinking about you. I was worried about you, and I'm just checking on you, and I hope you're doing okay. I think that's a time. This is a time when we can do that. Maybe you want to make amends with someone. I think we should all probably do that right now. Don't you think?
And we'll see. Oh, you're 100% right, of course. But, and I've seen some of it. I'm surprised by how many people, even in the evil places, like on Twitter and stuff like that, where they're saying nice things, even if they see you and me as representing something like, politically poisonous to them. So I think people are starting to get a sense of perspective. That you may want to kill somebody in a debate, but it doesn't mean that you want them to die of a disease. And I think that that's going to be good for this country. I think hard times make strong people. But you do not get through hard times if you don't make the right moves. And I can't believe that they're allowing anybody in this country to wait this out so that it just comes to their communities and devastates them like it's doing to us right now. I just can't believe we're allowing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And your point about, been making the same point, we cannot forget, listen, we have to move on. We hope this president does well. We hope the administration does well. We hope that the leaders do well. That's why it's important that we hold them to account. But we cannot forget that the time that we lost. The time that we lost was so critical and so important. And as you said, you got it. But you wish that if you were going to get it, that you would have gotten it sooner so that you would have known what people were going through and that you could have called the president out in real time and said, hey, mister, this is no hoax. This is no Democratic hoax, no matter how you're trying to describe it, whether you're saying it's a Democratic hoax, the Democrats are trying to take it down or the media is trying to take it down. That's not what's happening here. This is absolutely 100% real.
Right. The new hoax is everybody's got a test now who wants it. Don, I'm telling you. I'm like plugged into a new network now, right? Because of me having this. I have thousands of people around this country saying the exact same thing. Like I'm looking at their accounts to see if they're copies. You know, oh, I can't get a test. They got a test. I've been waiting 10 days, 14 days, 16 days. You know, I'm already better. So these people, what are they going to do? You're going to go back out and start living your life if you're not sick anymore. You haven't even gotten the test results yet. How can we expect to get in front of this when we keep making the same boneheaded moves? I know people are tired of hearing it, but that's too bad because we are nowhere near where we need to be to beat this. 2 more weeks. I'm telling you, you and I will be talking about this well into late spring.
Yeah. Listen, so I socially distanced myself, I will tell them, and I saw Chris today through the window.
Through
in
glass,
his basement,
like I was in a zoo.
And your wife told me to go around the back if you want to see him through the glass. You were asleep on the couch. I knocked on the window and I said hello, and we just walked away. But we delivered groceries, and I was so happy. I put him by the door, and I walked back to the car. Christina opened the door, and she said, "You can come in if you want." We were all negative. I said, "No, we're going to stay. We'll stay socially distant, just because we have to. And I just want to make sure I'm doing what everybody says I'm doing because I'm the man on the news at night saying you should do that." So we did. So she had the mask on, and we were so happy that everyone in your house tested negative for COVID-19. So very happy.
I cried like I was you when I got that news that they were all negative. I was shocked that they're negative. Yeah. And look, I know that doesn't mean that they'll always be negative. But the idea that at least every day that they don't have this virus is a blessing for me. I don't want anybody to deal with what I'm dealing with now, let alone one of my kids. I don't know how I'd handle having given them something like this. This is terrible.
Mario hadn't been so happy to see me, so I brought ice cream then, I don't think ever. So anyways, enjoy the groceries. Enjoy the groceries, enjoy the soup, whatever it is I put in there.
They didn't bring me any of the ice cream.
You take care, buddy. I'll see you soon, all right?
If you need anything,
you know where to call. Love you too. All right, take care. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. Here's our breaking news. The numbers are shocking, and the fact is we are nowhere near the peak here. The coronavirus cases in this country passing the 200,000 mark today. More than 211,700 reported cases. More than 4,700 deaths. That number is soaring. 1 month ago, that was March 1st, today is April 1st, one person had died of the coronavirus in this country. Tonight, just 1 month later, there are more than 4,700 deaths. And we have reached another grim milestone, at least 928 deaths reported in just one day today, the largest day total yet. I want you to take a look at how that number has grown over the last few days. Okay, so just look at your screen, please. Saturday, it was 394. That was new deaths reported. Sunday, 456 new deaths reported. Monday, that number was up to 575. Last night, at least 830 new deaths reported. And tonight, it is now 928 new deaths reported. The World Health Organization says in a matter of days, coronavirus cases will top 1 million worldwide. The president saying this tonight.
Difficult days are ahead for our nation. We're going to have a couple of weeks, starting pretty much now, but especially a few days from now, that are going to be horrific.
Well, that coming after the president began tonight's briefing not with important information about the coronavirus plague gripping the country, but instead he used his time in front of a stricken nation to make a lengthy announcement about what appears to be an unrelated counter-narcotics operation and to tout his border wall. There is a time and a place for that. There is. It's not now. Not when nearly 90% of Americans are under stay-at-home orders. Not when it's the deadliest day in this crisis so far. Not when our emergency stockpile of medical supplies is nearly empty. Not when Americans want to know what their government is doing to save their lives and protect them and their loved ones. But instead, the experts like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx waited in the wings while the president played politics. And with one medical expert after another telling us that staying at home is the best weapon we've got, there are 11 states that are so far refusing to order all of their people to stay at home. There are no statewide orders in Alabama, none in Arkansas, in Iowa, Missouri, North Dakota, Nebraska, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, and Wyoming. Though some of those states have municipalities and counties with stay-at-home orders, they do. But ask tonight why he doesn't just take things out of the hands of the states and issue a nationwide order himself. The president said this.
States are different, and I understand that Governor of Florida, great Governor Ron DeSantis, issued one today, and that's good, that's great. But there are some states that are different. There are some states that don't have much of a problem.
Well, he just doesn't get it. There's no magical, invisible barrier, no border wall between Americans under stay-at-home orders and Americans still moving around freely. And with tests still not available to anybody who wants one, despite the president's false promise last month, there could be untold number of Americans who don't even know that they have the virus. It makes no sense to leave the decision to local governments like Tennessee, where Governor Bill Lee